Blackhawks.
Love them.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Tell me about your love for, because I know we're going to talk about food, but tell me about your love for
Sure.
sports and for the Blackhawks are your team beyond other Chicago.
You know, I've
sports
been a
teams.
Cubs fan since I remember in 1969. I don't know, Cubs fans here, the fatal.
They lose a lot. They don't. They haven't won in a while.
The extra game with the Mets. Whatever. I played sick that day. Put the thermometer on the radiator. Had a fever. Stayed home from school.
Yeah, you did the Ferris Bueller
Watched the
thing.
game, and my heart was broken. And I've been a fan my whole life, Cubs fan. The year before Blackbird opened, I think I went to 40-some baseball games because I could. But my heart's broken year after year after year, and I've sort of resigned myself to the fact that the Cubs will never win the World Series in my lifetime. Probably if I'm 60 or 54 and they win the World Series, I'll probably die the next day. Just the joy will consume my body.
Would you take that trade-off?
No, I wouldn't. But anyways, so years ago, my wife is a former non-for-profit healthcare professional, and now for many years she's been a serious yoga teacher.
Okay.
She teaches at Columbia and all kinds of privates all over the place and at our house. And
what's a serious yoga teacher as opposed to like a silly one?
Well, she's kind of intense, and she definitely is a purist. You know, she likes Iyengar and Ashtanga, and she's not into the whole hot yoga, all that kind of
nonsense,
trendy stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you know, whatever.
More power to her.
But anyways, we both started watching Blackhawks games and really enjoying it. She comes from a big family; she's a sports fanatic, and we just totally enjoy watching. Hockey's a great sport,
and they're the team
beautiful.
That's keeping Chicago. Sports kind of.
We the big excitement at this point is we decided 2 years ago to take a short road trip every year to see the Hawks play in another city.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I travel all over to cook and to do all kinds of stuff, and you know, we're fortunate enough to go to Europe for research and development. We were in southern Italy last year, blah blah blah. But this year next Thursday we're going to Montreal. Nice. For 3 days to see the Hawks play the Canadians.
And great food there, too.
Great food. Have a whole list of great restaurants.
The beef brisket, the Schwartz's.
Going there. There's actually another one that's supposed to be better than Schwartz's.
Really?
That we're going to go to, yeah.
Really? I go to the tourist traps.
But anyway, so yeah, just think it's a beautiful sport. It's awesome, fun.
Do you think,
I saw the video. Well, I saw Jeff tweet it. I thought I'd be cool and wear my hat.
Yeah, well, that's also which led me to the question about the Blackhawks. Otherwise, I was going to ask you about the top of your head.
Right.
So, yeah. Where'd you get your haircut?
That's a great story.
Yeah?
I go, you know, the YMCA in Irving Park used to be where the Chicago Bears practiced.
Yeah.
I'm a cheap haircut guy, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But there's a Moroccan guy who has a haircut place called Cut and View.
Okay.
And
what does that mean? It's like Brew and View, but Cut and View.
Man, the last time I went there for a haircut, he's probably in his mid-40s. He was playing a soccer game at the park the day before, and he tore up his knee. And I'm like, "You sure you can give me a haircut?" It was a comedy sketch, and he's like, "I can give you a haircut." And the whole time he was in agony. The reason I go there in the first place is he pulls your hair and then cuts it, and he kind of pushes you around in the chair, and it cracks me up. But I got the haircut, and then my business partner Donnie was like, "That's the best haircut you've ever had." And it's $7. I think I give him 20 because you know, come on.
Yeah.
His name is Sam.
Yeah.
We don't talk about much. Talk about Moroccan food a little bit. Which there is a really good Moroccan restaurant on Irving Park near the Expressway too, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went there and his knee was torn up. I ended up going to the 7-Eleven and getting him ice, an ace bandage, and Advil because he refused to do anything for himself. And by the end of the haircut, he's like, "I got to call my brother. I gotta have him take me to the hospital." He was beat up, but he couldn't walk. I think he blew up his ACL or something. He was in agony, but he's like, "I have to pay the bills. I have to cut your hair."
And you got the cut in time.
I got the cut in time.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. Sam.
All right, I'll check it out.
And for some reason, I went there once, and there was a note, eating lunch. I think he lives above. Call me if you need a haircut. So I called him, so now he has my number. So every once in a while, my phone will ring. I don't know the number. I should put in there, Sam the barber. But it's like, you know, I'm here anytime you need a haircut. Please come. I'm like, thanks, wow. Sam. That's awesome.
Well, how often? I mean, just out of curiosity, how often do you get your hair cut?
Well,
this is in there, by the way. That question's in that pile.
As it thins out,
Yeah.
A little bit. You know, I got a little quick story.
Yeah.
My wife and I were at one of those outdoor. I think we were at Pitchfork years ago, and we were watching Dinosaur Jr.
Yep.
And huge crowd, super hot out. You ever gone to Pitchfork? It's like 1,000 degrees every year there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's jumbotrons on each side, and it's Dinosaur Jr. You know, and he's doing his super rock thing, and the camera's panning the crowd, and it's like on my wife, and I immediately am drawn to this beautiful hair, and I'm like, wow, who's the hot chick from behind? And I'm like, wow, it's my wife. And then it pans to the guy next to her, and I'm like, who's the fat dude with the bald spot? And I was like, ah! And that was
Sam, help!
You know, my hair was all matted. It was
Yeah.
super hot out.
Yeah.
So I decided it's crew cut time. So I used to wear my hair pretty long, so I've been wearing it short ever since.
It looks great.
And it's actually kind of long right now, but I just go in there and say,
It's
cut
time.
it.
It's time.
It's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Cut it, Sam.
Yeah. Back to the Blackhawks. You know what? Have you ever thought, like, you go to United Center or any stadium, and some places have gotten better, but the food is typically disgusting.
We don't eat there.
Well, have you ever thought, like, you know, you could do a restaurant there, or a partnership, like farm to stadium?
You know, we do have aspirations with our butcher shop. You know, we make all this incredible sausage that we're pretty proud of. We do have aspirations to do it in a stadium or stadiums, and we actually went to lunch with, who's the guy that owns the Cubs now?
The Ricketts?
We had lunch with Tom Ricketts to
Yeah.
talk about sort of Wrigley Field in the future, and the whole thing was very confusing and alarming. I mean, he's an awesome man. He seemed great, but
Where did it go awry? What happened?
I just Cubs, food, us, stadium, rebuild. I couldn't.
It just seemed too much.
It was too
to
much. It
handle.
was overload.
Yeah.
With my '69 experience with the thermometer and stuff, I couldn't.
Yeah. So you just broke down about the team before you could even. He
asking
started
him-
telling you about his plans for
Yeah.
development, for
Yeah,
rebuilding.
I was asking him all these questions about the players, and
Yeah.
he didn't. I don't know, it was very uncomfortable for me. But
Well, you should go back to the Blackhawks. That'd be.
I
So all right, so you have a new restaurant,
Yes, we do.
which is great. It's delightful, and I'm not very good at describing food, so
Sure.
I'm going to say that it's obviously not your typical red sauce Italian place, but it's also not your typical Francesca's type nice Italian restaurant in the city. So for me, it was different than any other Italian place I'd ever been to. So kind of put it into context of Italian cuisine.
Well, I think, you know, in my experience, like as I get older, you know, I used to go to France to dine all the time, and then went to Italy for the first time and have gone back subsequently like 5 or 6, 7 times. Went to Bergamo to cook with a great chef buddy. And really, Italian cuisine to me is like, I just don't want to mess around with a bunch of crap. As I get older, I want, you know, my wife and I cook at home. We cook really simple, really pure food, and that's sort of what Italian food is all about. I've never wanted to put 20 things on a plate and create this canvas of ingredients and say this is cooking. I want to, you know, make a sauce and develop the flavors, you know, make a sugo and cook it down and have this great thing that's soulful and heartwarming. And I think, to me, chefs and restaurants kind of get away from that. They don't cook food from the heart, from the soul. They want to. It's forgive the expression, but it's kind of a wank. It's like they want to show how cool it can be, and really ultimately, no one really wants to eat that food a lot.
Nobody wants a wank.
Nobody wants to eat a wank. So, for me, we've always tried to do all of our concepts, myself and my business partners. There are a bunch of them. We do things, you know, from the heart. We want to do food that we think is culturally relevant and real. And, you know, for me, there's a lot of great Italian restaurants around the country that cook. I mean, the food that we know in Chicago, red sauce Italian, is from one region of Italy. But, you know, in the north, they cook with sauerkraut and fennel seed and all kinds of stuff that we're not used to eating. And there's a huge coastal region, obviously, of Italy. And, you know, the kid that's the chef de cuisine there, Erling Wubauer, who's a great cook, great kid, got in my ear years ago when he was a cook at Avec, and said, I want to do an Italian seafood place one day. And for years, we've been bouncing ideas off of each other and talking about it. And a couple times, my business partner, Donnie Medea, who's Mr. Super Italian guy, we've talked about, you know, when we opened Blackbird, his Aunt Rita, his mother passed away while we were building it, twin sisters, twin Italian sisters who had a giant refrigerator full of homemade pasta, and we'd go there and eat. And actually, Aunt Rita came and worked with us in the early beginning, and she would, she was in her late 80s. She would clean mushrooms and make pasta for this, make brajol for the staff and all kinds of stuff. So Italian food is really near and dear to Donnie's heart, to my heart, and I think we wanted to capture just pure, clean, food. So you can go to Nico and, which you said Osteria.
I pronounced it wrong.
Not wrong,
Yeah.
but
not right.
But not right. It's
Yeah.
it's Osteria.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
Trattoria
Yeah.
Osteria.
Yeah.
But you can go there and get a whole Mediterranean sea bass, and they farm raise them in Greece now. They're good, but we get real true wild ones from the Mediterranean. They're quite pricey, but they're really remarkable. We crust them in salt, which is a really traditional technique, and then roast them in the oven. And when they come out, we drizzle them with olive oil and lemon juice, and it's this thing that's so remarkable when you eat it on the seashore in Italy or at a beautiful restaurant in Italy. I sort of wanted to recreate that kind of experience, that kind of purity and simplicity, and hopefully we're doing that.
So when you open a restaurant, and when you get involved in building a menu, how much of cooking, I guess, or how much of doing what you do is being a historian almost versus being a cook or an artist or a craftsman? Like it seems like there's an aspect of trying to hold on to something that has existed before.
I think a big part of it. I mean, to me, the mistake, and there's chefs in this country that I will say that I have a lot of respect for. I mean, someone needs to. I mean, the first time some dude in France made creme brulee, I mean, his buddies probably were like, well, "What's wrong with you? You're crazy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" But it's a staple now. So somebody's got to forge forward and do what hasn't been done. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it comes without regard to history and to tradition and culture and things that have been happening for forever. And I think when you try to smash these flavors into each other, or cook with chemicals and all this kind of stuff, it doesn't. I struggle with it. I don't find any substance in it. So we, in all of our concepts, have always really paid a great amount of attention to what's been done, to history. I mean, everything's a little bit different because we can't really be a true Italian restaurant. We're not in Italy. We have products that are indigenous to the Midwest and to our oceans, and so it's going to be different. It's going to be Asian carp. Yeah. They came to us with Asian carp once and said, "Try to cook with this," and it was like, did you ever see that movie called Race with the Devil?
Yeah.
Anyone see that movie? Yeah. Whatever. It's a crazy movie, but at the end, they're like in this town. They're stranded. Their motorhome is stranded.
They brought Asian carp to you?
They brought Asian carp. Yeah, it was one of the fish companies. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they use it for cat food and stuff now.
Yeah.
And the stuff anyways, it was like Race with the Devil at the end. The circle of flames pops up, and it's all the people that you've seen the whole time surrounding you, and they kill you. It was
Similar to that.
It was a terrifying experience when I cut the carcass open. It's like a spider web of bones, and it's just a mutated creature.
It sounds. Can you imagine
Super
putting
creepy.
it on your menu? Asian.
No.
I mean, and then underneath.
No, it made me.
Lake Michigan.
It's kind of grossing me out just thinking about it.
Yeah, well,
Thanks for bringing that up.
Let's move on. You did mention cat food, and I wanted to bring up cats. No, I did, because there is a piece online. I don't know. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Probably house.com.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So there's it's a photo spread of Paul's very beautiful kitchen, and there's a couple of photos that feature Paul's cats. One drinking from the faucet, fine. One on the counter, also fine. The comments
Alarmed. People are alarmed.
are all about the cat.
Yeah.
They're not about the kitchen. Some people are like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Some people are then, calm down. He said he washes the counters.
That was one of those where I never heard of House, and my wife and I redid our kitchen, and I mentioned it to someone, and all of a sudden it's like big news, like World War III.
Yeah.
Paul Kahan redid his kitchen, it's stupid and embarrassing. Again, I don't want Paul Kahan Day. I don't really care if anyone sees my kitchen or not, but all of a sudden, Wine Spectator, all these places wanted. I'm a chef, I guess. People want to see my kitchen.
Yeah, makes sense.
House, I found out, is probably read more than the Chicago Sun-Times. Like, people are obsessed with House and seeing how people redo their homes and design and gifty stuff. You can buy all kinds of crap on there, and so they put it up there, and someone said, "Hey, the person that took the photos, log on there or get on there and check out all the comments. And it was all about the cat, whose name is Burgermeister, who's 15 and is like strong. Like he's gonna live like another 15 years. He's amazing.
Chicago tap.
But he actually, since we redid the kitchen, there's like a long arm on the faucet's one of these guys like this, and there's a long on-off arm, and Burgermeister has figured out how to turn it on and off. So he jumps up on the counter and he nudges it over and he pushes it down and he drinks cold water. He doesn't shut it off. So I rigged up a...
You could teach. You could teach. Charles Mingus taught his cat how to use the toilet.
No way.
Yeah, he wrote a book about it. Charles Mingus wrote a book about it.
What's the book called?
I think it's How to Get Your Cat to Use the Bathroom.
I love Charles Mingus.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got a big thick rubber band that I just put around it to keep it from... Because if the stopper's in, we might get flooded.
It would flood,
The
waste
cat
water.
may flood us,
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful cat and a beautiful kitchen.
House.
It's a
It's one of those things where like critical stuff sometimes, or the like 2 or 3 times that I've ever looked at Yelp, and you want to get on there and you want to say something back, and so it's one of those type the whole thing and then don't send it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm like, what?
You don't want to get into that mess.
No.
So you don't look at the Yelp reviews.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I
I was looking at them for Nico.
I don't look at any of it.
And I heard that Rahm was at Nico the other day.
Rahm was there. I was actually my Rahm stories are the first time I met Rahm. Where was it? He came into the Publican, and he was sitting at a booth, and I walked by one of his bodyguards, and they said, I had biked to work, and I was in my biking gear, and they said, "You're a biker, huh? Rahm's a big biker. You should go talk to him." So I went up to Rahm and said, Hey, Mayor, how's it going? You know, I hear you're a big biker. Small talk for a second. He goes, "You're the chef here. Why don't you pick a menu out for me?" And I said, "Okay." And he said, I don't like pork. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this," which I heard is all kind of, I heard he likes it all, but he just tells that he doesn't like a lot of stuff.
It could be a religious thing.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went to the kitchen. I wrote the menu up. I pulled our general manager aside, and I said, "Katie, can you just go back to Rahm and make sure this menu's okay?" So blah, blah, blah. She goes back to Rahm, and Rahm looks at her and goes, "Tell the chef he's a wuss." So that was the first time.
Yeah.
The second time, Rahm asked us, I guess he likes me.
Bring out the Asian carp next time.
Yeah, bring out the Asian carp. And then we got invited to cook a head of state dinner at the Chicago Cultural Center for the president of North Korea, which is the bad one.
It can't be North Korea.
Yeah. It would have been cool if it was North
the one
Korea.
That feeds
sorry,
his assistance to the dogs.
Sorry, South Korea.
Yeah.
And so we cooked a dinner for like 500 people, and then at the end they invited us to come out and take pictures with the president and his wife and Rahm and his wife, and I said, "Hey, Mayor, how you doing?" And he said, Good. Dinner was delicious." And I said, "The last time that I saw you, you called me a wuss." And without even skipping a beat, he said, "You're still a wuss."
That's awesome.
Nice guy, huh?
Yeah.
And
he keeps coming back.
And then so he was at Nico. He was eating in a booth, and I didn't really even want to bother him. And it was actually a night where I was shooting out to try to catch the third period of the Blackhawks game with my wife on TV, and I saw him in the window, so I went up to the window. I was wearing this hat, and I kind of put my face up against the window and smashed my face up against the glass. And he looked for a second, a little alarmed, and then he went like that. And then I went in and I said hello to him, and he was nice.
That's cool.
He was cool.
Yeah.
He scares me a little bit, but
yeah. We didn't talk too much about the restaurant, but I will say that I loved it. I loved the meal, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
It's always a pleasure.
And Nico is located right across from. It's right across from Gibson's. Have you had any Blackhawks come over? Because they always go to Gibson's.
We did. We had Christopher Stieg, and who's number 2? Come on, defense guy, Duncan Keith.
Wow.
They came in and had a nice meal. And actually, Duncan Keith said, "Do you want tickets to the game tomorrow?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so it was a super freezing night. And he said, "You can get them at Will Call." And my wife and I went to Will Call, and I'm like, "Yeah, Paul Kahan, I got tickets from Duncan Keith, Mr. Big Shot."
Yeah.
Like, there ain't no tickets here from Duncan Keith.
No way.
He forgot.
Yeah.
He actually, I got his number. I texted him. Of course, he wouldn't pick up. He was before the game.
He was playing the game.
So he said, "I'll get you tickets for any other game." So I'm hoping to get 4 tickets for that outdoor shebang in March.
Yeah.
Go with a couple buddies. Can I put a pitch in?
Yeah.
One of the guys you showed in your highlights from last year, Bill Siegel.
Yeah.
Filmmaker. He has a new film out called Charles Muhammad Ali.
That's what we talked about when he was on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We didn't just talk about palm trees.
Oh,
in
the movie's
Minnesota.
done. Have you seen it?
Brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Charles Muhammad Ali.
You guys grew up together.
We actually, my wife introduced me to Bill, and we've been best buddies for 25 years. But it's an amazing film. Should definitely check it out.
He was a delight to have on the show, and
He's a
the
great
movie
guy.
is great.
Cool.
Well, Paul, thanks for coming on.
Yep.
All right, Paul Kahan, everyone. Nico.
Thank you.